coming in and out of the group, so I'll do my best to make sure everyone gets added in without missing a beat. So for anyone new who hasn't been on our call before, here we go. I'm going to mute as many people as I possibly can. All right, so for anybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is Valerie Simoneau, and I am the Director of Operations for Knighton Real Estate Advisors and co-founder of Strategic Admin. All right, we got some people coming through. And today we're going to talk about something that has been a popular conversation, always kind of like in my world, and which is team communication and accountability. So I just put accountability in the title, but it really boils down to communication as well. So we're going to cover a few things that have been working for myself and the team that I'm on. And we're a team of about 14. So we have 6 buyer agents, 3 listing agents, and then a fully staffed admin team with 2 ISAs. So obviously accountability is huge. Now, with that being said, you can have accountability as a single agent with an admin, a single agent by yourself, or for a large group of people. So what we're going to talk about today is scalable at any level. And again, it's only the things that have kind of got me through since day one with our team to where we are now. So again, I'm just telling you from my own experience and the things that I've kind of uncovered since I've been in the industry. So we're going to start sharing screen now. I think, actually, no, we'll wait a couple more minutes, Jess, so people can come through. So thanks everybody for showing up today. I love this. And what we're going to do is we'll spend about 30 minutes, I think, going through the slideshow that I have for you guys. Feel free to jump in, unmute yourself, and ask questions away. And then we'll spend the last few minutes just a group discussion about it. If there's any questions, maybe I missed the mark on something that someone really wants to know an answer to. So by all means, jump in at any time, and we'll also be opening it up at the end for questions as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share a screen. And we all know how great, if you've been on any of my calls, how great I am at all this stuff. So bear with me here, please. Okay. So today's call is going to be how to hold agents accountable. And I figured a slideshow works best, guys. So if anyone's taking notes, you guys can get all this stuff afterwards as well, okay? So the first thing is figuring out what their top 3 jobs are. So over the years, it's been really hard, and I think it's safe to say that we can all agree, you can't hold somebody accountable to something if you don't know what their goal is, if you don't know what their jobs are. So in our team, what we had to do before we could even figure out what accountability looked like at any level is figure out their top jobs. Now what I did today is I gave you the top 3 jobs. These can be different. This is what works for our team. Every team, every agent has different goals. On our team, we actually hold each other accountable to 6 top jobs. And I'll tell you what those top jobs are, just in case anyone is curious. And the top 6 jobs on our team for our agents, and again, for everyone that's joining in, this is scalable from a single agent to a large team.
So Yellow Birch, the one on Toccola.
We're gonna mute. Okay, so the top 6 jobs on our team for our agents are: number 1, lead gen. Number 2, follow-up. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Number 3 is, okay guys, I'm just gonna find the mute button. Okay. So like I said, number 1 is lead gen. Number 2 is follow-up. Number 3 is going on appointments. Number 4 is negotiating contracts. And number 5 is tracking numbers. So those are the top 5 jobs that we needed to know for our agents, so we knew what our accountability looked like. So for everyone that's jumping on the call right now, what we're talking about is accountability as a single agent, medium-sized team, large team, whatever you look like. This is something that I was able to scale from myself and just our team leader all the way up to the amount of agents we have now, which is 14 in total for our team. So whatever we're learning today, totally scalable, whatever level. And again, what I'm doing here is I told you at the beginning that I'm just going to use what it is that I hold our team accountable for in order to help you guys understand accountability. And accountability also goes hand in hand with the communication, so you'll hear me talk in and out about both. So for our team, what I did is I took the top 5 jobs, I broke down 3 for you guys. So lead gen. In my world as an administrator, I get asked a lot about accountability for agents. As an admin, how much accountability can you give to your agent, and what happens if they still don't follow through? And if there's any agents on the call, you can use this in your own business. It's all going to come down to your mindset around it and knowing what your top 3 jobs are. So for our team, lead gen is the number one thing. No negotiations on that. Number 1 is lead gen. So how do I, as an admin, hold my team, my agent accountable to making sure that they reach their goals? First of all, I have to know what their lead gen goals are. So if there's anyone on the team or anyone on the call today that is actually in the process of hiring an admin or a new admin on a team right now, this is going to be a great tool for you to get started. So knowing what the lead gen is, how many hours a week do they want to lead gen? How many appointments they want to book. And the reason why it's important to know that, and if there's any agents on here, please don't be upset with me, but I hold our team at extremely high accountability. If I know their goals and they're not doing them, I find out what their mission is. So for instance, if I have an agent on our team, I'll just use his name as Justin. I know that his number 1 goal is to make set amount GCI so he can take his family on vacation. So when he's not hitting his lead gen numbers, the conversation I'm going to have with Justin is, how close are you getting to your vacation? If you're not hitting your goal, are you going to be able to go on vacation still? And how many dollars and cents are you away from going on your vacation? So it's giving them, knowing what their goal is, knowing what their vision is, and holding them accountable to it. Another tool that we need to do when helping with holding them accountable to lead gen, time blocking and 0 distractions. My goodness, if anyone works in an office with agents, you know that it takes 3 seconds and they're gone. It's anything to do to not get that lead gen hour in. Not everyone's like that, but I know on our team, it's probably one of the hardest things to do is spend the first 5 minutes getting ready for lead gen. So we have a few tactics on our team. If anyone's on the call right now and this is something that you are or something that you suffer with on your team or have an issue with on your team, I'm going to tell you a couple techniques for us. So when it comes time for lead gen, we have lead gen timed in our calendar, in our office, and they are in the office. We got landlines. Not everybody can do that. Again, this is a system that worked for our team. We got a landline for everybody's desk. So they would give me their cell phones. We would shut down all their social media tabs. The only tab that's up on their laptop is their database. And whatever method of lead gen is they're using, if it's Mojo, whatever that is, if it's follow-ups, whatever that looks like. And there's a sign on everybody's door. If you bother me between this hour and this hour, you will owe me $20. If I leave this room in this set time, I owe you $20. So it sounds a bit aggressive. We have really good teammates who want to be held at extreme accountability, and we'll get into a little bit more about asking permission for what accountability looks like as well. So I know that there's probably someone out there saying, well, Val, I've tried that and it doesn't work. It's because you gave up too soon. That's really what happened. You gave up too soon holding them accountable, guys. It's not something that's going to be happening day 1. It might not even happen day 3. And I'm going to be honest, it'll go peaks. It'll go up and down. You'll have really good months where they're hitting their numbers and they're lead genning like you want, and then there's going to be months where they're not. So what we do as admins is we identify those areas. So for instance, we have an agent who, if he books 4 or 5 appointments a month, the running joke is in the office is he's going to take the rest of the year off. So we prevent that from happening by saying, what's your goal? Are you going on vacation? Is this going to fund your vacation? Or is it going to fund your home renos? Whatever that looks like, just to keep them going. We give our agents a success planner to track their numbers as well, holding them to an extreme accountability so they can actually physically see their numbers every single day. One of the most important things if you're a solo agent and you're on a team is to remember that you're an entrepreneur. Just because you're on a team doesn't mean you're working for the team. You're still working for your own success and your own numbers. And I always want to remind agents that your goal, it might come back to the team and fund our team and whatnot, but your goal is your goal. So when you're not hitting it, you're really only hurting yourself. And those are the type of conversations we have around accountability. So our success planners, I'll go back to that for a minute. We've designed a success planner for our team that has daily tracking for them. So they know that they have to make 20 contacts a day, or if they've upped their game and they want to do more. Those success planners, they bring to a one-on-one that we have every single week, and we hold them accountable to that. And our team was on a call with Marianne today, and she had a really great point, and I just want to share it with you as well. Just because someone's hitting their numbers and booking their appointments doesn't mean that they're doing well. If they're not actually converting them, look at the gap there. Maybe it's a skill. And all that can be tracked through your success planners. Now, mind you, I want to be completely transparent. I don't sit down and do the one-on-ones with the team. Our team leader does. But the success planners were a great tool for holding them accountable to their goals and tracking their goals, and we can physically see it. We create bunkers for our agents. So everyone has their own office space now. We've bought a bigger office and everyone has their own rooms. One point when we were a smaller team, we had actually created, what do you call those things? Like barriers between each one. And they were soundproof so you could have conversations and you weren't bugging the other person. So we held them accountable by there was no excuses. We created a bunker for them. Tracking numbers, and we're going to go into this a little bit later. This is more so from the admin perspective than it is anything else, guys. Tracking numbers, have a system in place, and size doesn't matter. You don't need to have like this intricate system for tracking numbers. We use our success planners, and we use another Excel program, which I will tell you guys about a little bit later. And then more importantly is talk the numbers with one another. Talk about what their numbers are. Know the numbers. As an admin, one of our top jobs is to know the team's numbers and to be able to help fill the gaps when needed. Knowing the numbers and knowing what their goals are is one way to form extreme accountability as an admin. So before I jump into the next section, does anyone have any questions around lead gen or any other questions so far? Because it kind of just jumped right in there. One thing I will always do is I'll always be completely honest. I feel like over the years I've come to just this point with our team that I just have the fierce conversations rather than dancing around things now. And for anyone who's new to the industry or still kind of like getting their bearings with a team or an agent, you'll get there. And it's not to say that you have to have a fierce conversation. It's really important that there's comfort level on both sides so you can hold your team accountable. They have to be held accountable. They have to want to be held accountable. So it's really important that, again, lead gen and knowing their goals. So if there's no questions, I'm going to keep going here. Going on appointments. This one's pretty simple. One of the other jobs of our team is going on appointments. Obviously, you get those from lead gen, follow-up, networking, all of that fun stuff. There's no appointments if there's no lead gen. So how do we support and hold our agents accountable for those appointments? First of all, we share our calendars. The entire team has the calendar shared, Google Calendar. We all know where everybody is. At night, before the next day, I send my agent a text message with all his important appointments for the next day. So even though they're in his calendar, we set reminders for 1 hour. I go the extra step and I send him a text message letting him know. I've covered all areas. There's absolutely zero gap for him to not show up on his appointments. First of all, he never would. Prepping the files. Doesn't matter what size of team you have. If you're if you're an admin with a solo agent, prepping their files before their appointment takes that added pressure off them where they can solely focus on actually visioning the appointment, getting to know the client beforehand, researching if it's a listing appointment. It ties up their free time. And let's be honest, they hired us for that. It's not their strong point. So getting the client or the files prepped before them or before their appointments. And then, like I said, reminder the night before of upcoming appointments. That's really important. So figuring out, number 3 is tracking numbers. So this one I could talk about all day long. Tracking numbers to know where you're at. So if you haven't noticed, all 3 of these kind of go hand in hand for our team. And like I said, we have top 5 jobs for our team, but I wanted to go over the top 3 with you guys. More importantly, for the admins, this doesn't mean that has to be your team's top 3 goals. I'm just simply sharing our team. So by all means, it's a conversation to have with your agent with what do you think your top 3 jobs should be? And then from there, you know how to hold them accountable. So we track our numbers, obviously, to know where we're at, and we track our numbers daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. So in our success planners, we track them every day. At the week's end, we tally up, or our agents tally up their numbers so they know how many appointments they went on, how many BRAs they signed, how many nurtures they have, how many contacts they made. They tally that up on a Sunday. And Sunday night, they put it into a system we have called CTE. And if you look at the screen, there's actually the web page right beside it, guys. It's called iwantexcellence.com. So we use this for team tracking. So it's an app on their phones where they can simply put in all of their lead gen hours, all of their open house stats, all the stuff that they need to, and it pre-populates to my desktop. So I can go in on Monday morning and I can check all of their team or all of their lead gen hours, their Mojo hours, whatever it is we're tracking. What I do with that, because again, I don't have the conversations with the agents, I take that to our team lead and I say, here's who's not, and I tell them, I say, first of all, I always give the agent the opportunity. So I'll message the agent and say, you didn't put your numbers in tonight. I'm going to Chris this morning. So take a moment, get your numbers in before I have to go to them. I'll give them that option. If they don't have it done by the time that I told them, I just send it to Chris and he gets it. So again, accountability is there. Some people are going to choose whether they want to or not, and we're going to get into those type of people later on. As an admin, I think, I can't say it enough, I said it a couple times already, we really need to know our team numbers. You don't need to know the yearly goal, but what if you focused monthly? What if you were able to say, okay, we need 15 deals this month, and this person's going to do this person's going to do this person's going to do this. Or if it's a single agent, I need to do this many deals a month. And as an admin, we should be sitting down with our agents for 30 minutes a week talking numbers. Okay, so we will, if I'm not hitting the mark on accountability, if people were looking for other forms of accountability, I've left the floor open for the last half hour for us to actually talk about those things. I just wanted to target the accountability for our team. So for anyone who's just joining in, we've had a couple people jump on. We're talking about accountability and communication. I'll make sure this slideshow gets sent out for you guys if anyone wants it. So find a system that works. Like I said, our team uses CTE. It's an Excel sheet. It's just a company's created this really elaborate program, which is wonderful. You might just need an Excel sheet. You don't need to go crazy. So on our Excel sheet, just make sure you have all the goals in there that you're tracking for your team. And like I said, every night our agents input their number or they wait until Sunday night and do it. And I review it Monday morning and then we talk about that gap. And again, I stress the importance, we use a success planner on our team, so it tracks as well our accountability. We can actually see every day. They can look back and they can notice that if every Tuesday it seems that they were never hitting their 20 contact goal, then maybe that's a Tuesday thing. So maybe something's going on Tuesday and they have to change their schedule up. Oh, Stephanie, I'm so sorry I missed your chat. You asked what if they don't? Can you just unmute yourself and if you just want to let me know what part of that you're talking about?
You answered it as you were going, that you were going to talk about the accountability later. You're talking about they put their numbers in on Sunday, but what if they don't? Because he doesn't. So
okay.
Go ahead.
You're not the only one on this call. And Krista and Angie, yes, I will share these slides with you guys, okay? For the tools, if anyone's looking, really CTE, iwantexcellent.com, have a look at it. I'm not saying it's going to work for you at whatever level your business is. I just know it's something that's really helped our team. And I'll be honest, we've given up on it a few times, and then we realized as our team grows, and if anyone on here is planning on growing a team, it was a system that we needed to bring back to hold them accountable. So those are the top 3 things on us for our team that we hold. We actually have 5, but like I said, we went with the 3 for extreme accountability. So I also mentioned at the beginning of the call that accountability also equals communication. So when you're starting as an admin with your agent, it takes a while to get to know somebody. And they can share their goals with you. They can share the vision of the team. They can show you, or they can share with you what their numbers are and what they hope to hit. But that's not going to make sense to you at the beginning. It's going to be so foreign, the language, and you're just like, I don't understand. And it might take you 6 months to really develop an understanding for the numbers. Now, mind you, I could be completely off, and there could be people on here who is only strictly motivated by numbers. Good for you. Keep it up, because it's not an easy thing. I've had the opportunity of working with our agent from a solo agent to where we are. So every step of the way, I didn't have a choice. I had to jump on board as fast as I could, know the numbers, share the numbers, and then hold our team accountable for it. So again, I'm going to stress the importance. So if anyone on this call is a solo agent or a team, has a team, is an admin on a team, whatever level your business is, I want you to make sure after the call that you have that conversation with your agent or agents with your admins on knowing what the vision is so you can understand what's important. And here's where I'm going to tell you where I hold my team extremely accountable, and I'm not saying this is going to be the best advice for every single team. We're all different and we all function different. Last week I mentioned it really boils down to who you have on your team. So outside of an admin, it's really like the culture, the commitments you make to the team. And then as an admin, it's all about your comfort level as well. So I lost my train of thought there for a second, guys. Hold on. I'll get it back. I'm sure I will. Look, it just says, and remind them again. So someone remind me what I was saying. No, so what's important is that sitting down, talking with your agent and understanding their vision. And like I said, it can change every 6 months to a year. We all know this industry changes daily and their actions change daily. And that's okay. We just need to make sure that we keep up, and all that's going to happen through communication. So I suggest to anyone who's on this call as an admin and they're unsure of what the team's goals are or what your agent's goals are, ask to do a Zoom call, a 30-minute call, and find out what the vision of the team is and what's important to them. And the reason why I say find out what's important to them, find out what it is they want to achieve, not just GCI, not what are they going to do with the GCI. So this was pivotal for me. This was 2 years ago. I was like, oh my God, if I can't hold these people accountable, I don't know what we're going to do. We can't grow. We can't hire any more agents. And I actually had that conversation because we couldn't get our accountability in check. And then it dawned on me, it's because we really didn't know. We knew what their goal was and how much money they wanted to make, but why did they want to make that money? Why was it important that they had to make $150,000 this year? Why was it important they needed to help 50 families? Why was that important to them? So we sat down and we did a whole new why conversation. And we found out some of the agents, some of their whys were, you know, to go on vacation once a year, to have the opportunity to do renos whenever they want. And here's where I get a little bit, you know, not mean, but here's where my extreme accountability comes in. I wrote all their goals down. Not their dollar and cents goals, but their why goals, why they're doing it, what makes them get up in the morning. And it's not just because their wife and husband forces them to go to work. What makes you get up in the morning and come and do your job? And then I used it against them. Every single time they were not hitting their goals. And it was small things at first where it would be like, yeah, you know, I said I was going to book 5 appointments this week. I only booked 3. I'm like, oh, that's kind of sucks. Like, what can I do to help you? Obviously, I want to help first. But what can I do to help you with that? And then it's like, oh, you know, I just didn't do the activities. Oh, that sucks. How would your wife feel if you couldn't take her on vacation this year? Like, I'll call her right now and let her know that you chose not to lead gen last week and you don't care to go on vacation. I have a good rapport with our team, so I'm not saying, again, this is not a system for everybody. I was able to have those open conversations because I asked permission if I can hold them extremely accountable. And it's awkward. I don't want to be that person. It's tough love. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that they have success. So I will do it. I will force them to remember their goals and remember their big why. And I will force them to remember what it'll look like if they don't hit those goals too. And that's where that, and remind them again, and remind them again. And the minute you mention, if anyone on here is a guy, the minute you bring in a wife and you're taking away her opportunity to do something, then they change their dynamic pretty fast. So that leads me into fierce conversations. So we were hired to help build a business. And at times it can be tough, and different agents have different perspectives of admins and agents and the relationships. So this is obviously going to be tailored to what you're comfortable with, what you and your agent have, the kind of relationship you guys have. In our office, I was hired to help build a business. I was hired to do everything else that's not those top 5 jobs. I was hired to take those top 5 jobs and create systems and models that would hold them accountable to it, and everything else is on me. So with that being said, that's a big thing. That's a big thing to be fed in your first few days. Extreme accountability can be uncomfortable in the moment. However, it builds trust. And sometimes trust can be a little bit difficult. It can, and building it and being honest isn't always easy to do, but it'll feel good afterwards, I promise. So building trust, and more importantly, you're building a lasting business. If you can't get control over the accountability, sometimes it's not on you. Don't take it personal that there's something you're missing. It's a conversation that probably should have had at the very beginning with your agent on what accountability looks like. And sometimes we get through and we go through a 30, that's not in a 30, 60, 90. Has anyone ever sat in an interview and said, hey, I'm gonna need you to hold me accountable? That's it, just hold me accountable. It doesn't really happen. I mean, they might express, I will need accountability from you. You have no idea. You sit there and say, okay, great, yeah, that's not a problem at all. I'm pretty good at that. But you have no idea what we're holding them accountable to. So it can be hard for a realtor to be reminded of accountability. And I think this is where admins, we get scared. And if there's any agents on the call, I just want to let you know that it's really hard sometimes for us as administrators to hold you accountable to something, because we feel like, one, it might be us talking too higher. Like maybe we shouldn't be up there holding you accountable and you should be holding me accountable. And I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in and express kind of like what they look like or what it feels like to them for extreme accountability with their agents. It took me a long time to get there, a long time. And then it was just like a flip of the switch. I'm not going to be in this business much longer if we don't get a hold of this accountability. And everything in our industries, our systems, our models are all held with accountability. So agents, it can be hard at times for an admin to come and have a conversation about why you're not lead genning. And that's why this whole call came about, because I get asked this a lot. What do you do to hold your agent accountable? Because sometimes I feel like I shouldn't have that conversation, that I'm not the one that should be holding them accountable. And all I can say, people, is that you were hired to do a job. They hired you for this. I have a question coming through. Melissa said, I think you nailed it. It's odd to hold your boss accountable. Yes, there you go. That's actually a better way to say it than I did. Thank you, Melissa. It is, guys. It's a struggle. So if there's agents on here and you have administrators and you're like, man, they're letting me down. I just wish they would push me a little bit harder. Again, that was a eye-opening experience for me as well. We have to push them harder. Talent pushes them to be better at their jobs, at their career. And in the meantime, they're building their career, you're taking your job and you're building a career at it as well. So it goes back to having a fierce conversation. And if I'm going to inspire anybody on today's call, I inspire you to have a conversation with your agent and your admin after this call on what it is we can do to hold each other accountable. And there's three questions you can ask. And you can ask on any level. It can be coming from the admin or coming from the agent. How honest can I be with you? Get their permission to have an honest conversation. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how honest can I be with you? Because they might not like extreme. Kelly said, for me, it's easier to do this once I stopped thinking of them as a boss and started thinking of them as a team member. That's amazing, actually, Kelly. That's such a good way to put it. It's so true. Labels are a big thing as well. And if any agent on here, it does have the boss, they like to be called the boss, that's completely fine. There's no judgment. But Kelly nailed it. As a team member, you know what we say on our team? We use the word partner. We're all partners. Admins are partners with the sales agents. Sales agents are partners with the ISA. Our team leader, he's our partner. So great, Kelly. Thank you for sharing that, because that's 100% true. And that might be a question to ask as well. Are we partners in this, or are we team members? Whatever that question looks like. Because an agent and an admin on a team, whether you're the only ones or there's a smaller team or a small team, you're team members. You're on a team together. A team is 2 or more. And then, so these are 3 questions that I actually use on a regular basis. Whenever I'm going to have a conversation with somebody in our office, I always say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how honest can I be with you? Because sometimes I can be really honest and it's not always, and sometimes I have this ability to just spit things out because I don't like small talk a lot, which is something I have to practice. Stephanie just said, I'm a team leader, but the admin is the boss. Oh, Stephanie. All right, Steph, you win. Today's comment, Stephanie wins, guys, hands down. If anyone, this call's done. Because that's exactly, and it sounds so silly, but the minute you empower your admin, God, your business will flourish. I promise you guys, the minute you empower your admin to make her feel, or them feel, that they are building a career and a business for you, you will never have to step foot or stare at another piece of paperwork again, and you will double your business. Tammy said, thank you for sharing this. Oh, you need to jump on another call there, Tammy? All right, see you later, Tammy. I know her, it's okay, I wasn't being rude. But like I said, I can be very much like matter of fact, and it's because I don't want to waste anyone's time. And to be honest, at the minute we sit there and we say, oh, you know, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I was just wondering if we could have a talk. No, it doesn't work. On a scale of 1 to 10, how honest can I be with you? You're welcome, Tammy, thank you. Or, I want to be in business with you and I want to grow. How are we going to do this together? And it's okay to ask them, what's the best way to communicate with you? Because when it comes to accountability, nobody wants you to be held accountable in front of other people, especially a team leader. You never hold the team leader accountable in front of people, and we'll get to that a little bit later, because at times that's my big gun. Like, I pull that out when I need to. Anybody at any level, agent or admin, that's always got to be a private conversation when you're holding someone accountable, depending on what the accountability looks like. So in my experience, the key to accountability really is in the relationship I have with my agent. So this is what I was saying before. When I first joined with our team, I didn't have the accountability conversation. We talked about accountability, but again, I never really knew what that looked like. I knew what our goals were, but we kind of flip-flopped back and forth because it was 4.5 years ago. The market was insane. There was no time to actually have conversations about systems and models. We just had to do it and get things done. So we had an honest conversation, and we have very fierce conversations, my agent and I, and nothing but respect for one another as well. Because we've identified how we want to be communicated with, we ask permission to hold each other accountable, and we never hold each other accountable to things that we didn't get done or things that we said we were going to do, or our how fast we can get things done, whatever it is. We never have these conversations in front of anybody else. So there's 2 ways to do accountability. You can do group accountability, and again, ask the team, can I be 100% transparent with all of you? Can we hold everyone accountable together as a team? And there's going to be people on your team, no matter what level, that don't want to be held accountable in front of others, and you have to be respectful of that. So figuring out how that works for them, if it's a one-off conversation, whatever that looks like, okay? Like I said earlier, it will be hard at first. Accountability is hard to hear and hard to do, and it'll be worth every frustrating minute you have. It will excel your relationship. It will excel your business. And as an admin, what if you were struggling with accountability and you are 3 weeks into this thing and they're still not doing their job and you still can't hold them accountable? Lead by example. If you're upset, you can't hold them accountable. Be accountable for yourself and your actions, and people feed off that energy. Have a conversation. I might have let you down last week. I don't know for sure. And I just want to make sure you're good. And I just want to reiterate, it's okay to hold me accountable. And then having those conversations. So with accountability, you need to be clear, have your vision, and know the direction. You have to understand what you're being held accountable to and what you're holding people accountable to. How can you expect people to be accountable if they aren't absolutely clear about your organization's vision or where they're going and what needs to be accomplished? And it goes back to knowing what you want as an agent, writing it down and sharing it with the admin. So outside of our goals for our team, knowing our numbers and knowing what the agents want to hit, knowing their big whys, we also share our organizational chart. So we have different facets of our business. There's investing and all this stuff. And then knowing that we put a plan in place. So 2 years we want to be sitting here. Well, I'm going to make sure that that still is included in our weekly one-on-ones. How, like, what's the process? How closer are we to this, et cetera, et cetera. So accountability, gosh, it could take years, depending on the program you're doing, whatever it is you guys are building. Lack of accountability is the single greatest obstacle facing even the most experienced leaders. It can zap our team morale, drain our profits, and disconnect your admins, and it can shift your team into a crisis mode on a daily basis. As a team leader, it's really important that you are leading by example. And I'll give you an example of our team. Here's an accountability thing that we're struggling with, and if any of my teammates are on this call, they will vouch for this. We have an agent. He's our team lead. Maybe he's on the call. I hope maybe he is secretly, so maybe this is my accountability to him. As a team leader, when he does a listing appointment, so he stepped back into production during the crisis just to kind of help out our listing team with everything going on. His paperwork is atrocious. And he has the nerve to think because he's the team leader, we're actually going to fill out his paperwork for him. And we do this thing, if the file is not complete, we do not touch it. And in this world now, we're all remote and we're all at home, so everything's digital. And the reason for that is it can really jeopardize that first relationship with our client. My client doesn't need to hear us say over and over again the same questions we had at the listing appointment, which is what we talked about last week. So FinTrax, not getting their driver's license, not putting their occupation, it's become a real problem. So our accountability with him right now is on our Monday morning calls. We are going to be calling him out. We're going to give him the list of listings that do not have a FinTrack, and we're going to get him to tell us when he's going to have those complete. Because if he doesn't, I swear to God, our listing agent's going to lose her mind. Our listing manager's going to lose her mind. She's going to get bogged down in doing that. And what kind of example is he setting for the other 2 listing agents on our team? And let's take it one step further. Just because he's the team leader doesn't give him a pass. If anything, he has to be at a higher level than anyone else in our team. So accountability comes in so many different forms and can be for so many different things on our team. But just being okay holding them accountable. And when I say this too, it sounds like, zap team morale. It really can. Accountability, because what if you get really upset as an admin because you're like, oh man, he's just not lead genning in your head over and over again. He's not lead gen. You go to another admin. What are you doing? Because he's not lead gen. I can't get him to lead gen and this, and this. And then you're just building this mindset. You're just assuming he's not lead genning, but you have never really asked them, why are you not lead genning? Why are you not doing it? Again, it comes back to small conversations. And it's okay to call them up and go, look, you said you were going to be doing 2 hours of lead gen a day this week, and you haven't even picked up the phone once. And you know how you keep track of that, people? You know how you know if they're not lead genning? If they tell me they're on Mojo, I will log into Mojo, and I will see it tells you when your agents were last active. Our database that we use, our CRM, has a last active tab, last activity. So I'll be able to go into there and see if he's left any notes talking to clients. When was the last time he checked his leads? And we have filters on our CRM, and I can check the filters and see when he was last in there. So talk about extreme accountability, having access to all that stuff. And I'll call him and say, you said you were lead genning today, but I looked at your Mojo and I looked at your CRM, and you haven't been active since last week at like whatever time. And it took me a while to be confident enough to have those conversations, and I'm sure it took him a while to adjust to me pushing him to be successful. In my head, that's what I'm doing. I'm pushing him to be successful. So it's just, again, guys, it boils down to being comfortable having a conversation. So if anyone's on this call, I think the number one step afterwards would be asking for 30-minute conversation to talk about goals, visions, and then what can I do as an admin to be holding you more accountable? What am I not doing for you? And then on the flip side, if this is an agent, asking them, say, what do you think you can do to hold me accountable? Because I'll be honest, they probably have 10 to 15 ideas that they're scared to tell you. And then just to finish up before we've got 20 minutes left for questions, books to help. So as an agent and an admin, I feel it's really important that you guys are connected. So Rocket Fuel was the first book that I read as an admin when I joined my agent. It talks about the visionary and the integrator. As an admin, we're the integrator and the agent is the visionary. So we have to be able to understand that they're going to come up with all these ideas on the fly and want to talk about this, and this, and it's our job to integrate it. Whatever that looks like, 15 minutes, 15 seconds, whatever their timeline is, we all know how it can be sometimes. Great book to read. Fierce Conversations. For any admin on here who's struggling with having open conversations, and again, I want to bring it down for just 1 second. As an admin, there's always that fear of, are we going to lose our job because we want to have that conversation? And I never want anyone to feel that way, because the reality of it is, if we can be honest, open, and trusting with one another, and to be able to be comfortable to have those conversations, mind you, they have to be respectable conversations, we should feel better and be open to have those conversations without that fear. So Fierce Conversations was definitely another really good read, guys, and you can get that on Amazon. I'm sure you can get it anywhere, but or Audible. And then the last one, it's a bit of a dry read. It's an older book. It's called Accountability, Key to Driving High Performance Culture. It's not a real estate book. It is strictly about growing a team and holding a team to a high accountability based on culture. So I'm going to leave you with this because this is what I said at the very beginning. It boils down to having the right people on your team. So whenever we onboard, when we onboard an agent or an admin, the number one thing we do is go over the commitments for the team before we even sign contracts. So they have to commit to us and we commit to them before we even get to the contracts. And in those commitments, it's commitment to the top 5 jobs. So are you committed to doing 2 hours of lead gen every single day? Are you committed to getting 20 contacts a day? Are you committed to following up with every single person in your database, time blocked and implemented? And are you committed to going on to any appointments the team has given you? And there's lots more. There's like 10 of them, but those are the ones that kind of go with what we're talking about today. And then we have them sign it. So here's where accountability comes out again. Anyone sways from that commitment, and I have it in a binder, and it could be from 5 years ago that an agent signed it on our team. I will pull that sheet out and I'll be like, let's talk about what you committed to when you first joined the team. And if you, it just remind me, is that your signature on that paper? Because you made a commitment to us just as we did to you. And again, honestly, we have really good teammates. So I'm very blessed that they put up with me. And I always tell them, it's not because I want to be successful. It's because I really want you guys to be successful. And it's very rare when you can have an admin who really feels that strongly. So when you have an admin who really feels strongly about holding you accountable to your goals, just know that's because they really believe in you. Like they really, truly believe that you can do it. It's not even a selfish thing. It's all because they care about your business. So let them hold you accountable, whatever that looks like. And guys, we're at like 4:15, so I'm going to open the floor up for 15 minutes for questions. Got to be some. Erin, is Erin still on the call? Erin and I have communication talks and accountability talks all the time.
I'm here.
Hey, did I help you answer any questions today? Because I know you and I always have this conversation around accountability.
Oh, 100%. I love that you start this conversation before you hire.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's definitely, like I said, 2 years ago was really pivotal for our team when we realized that we weren't going to grow successfully if we didn't nail down accountability. And it's easy to have when you have 2 people to be held accountable for, but when you start growing your team, or even forget the team, when you start growing your business, the communication and all of that kind of falters. So it's really important you grab that at the beginning, and as an admin, you're very comfortable having that conversation. And if there's agents on the call, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could take a few minutes with your admin, or if you're going to be hiring an admin, and just asking them how comfortable they are to holding you accountable to your goals. Because it's honestly probably one of the most pivotal tools. And then they're going to hold those systems and models that we are so happy to put together for you guys. We're going to hold those systems and models at a really high level. Because if you have their accountability, I mean, there's no boundaries, guys. So Melissa, do you have accountability advice for other admins on the team? On a team or on the team? Melissa, if you just want to unmute yourself and we can chat about that.
Sorry, it took me a second to find the mute button.
No worries, no worries. So
yeah.
what exactly is it you're looking for?
So you have like numbers and like those 3 things, your top 3 things that you're holding your agents accountable for. I know that you guys have quite the admin team as well. So what does that look like, accountability look like for admin teams? Okay, and I'm not just saying this because my admin team is on the call. We set up admin hiring just like we do for agents. And I have gotten to a point with our admin team that accountability, because they care so much about their own role and I don't micromanage, I've given them the opportunity to grow. So accountability for us looks like this, and it's very simple. Actually we haven't, but we should be. We do 3 days a week now on Zoom call, just checking in on one another. That's strictly all it is. We have hired the right people. Like we have the perfect team and our admins know exactly what their jobs are.
and they recreate their job description all the time. It's something that's ever changing. Our listing manager is bogged down because of all the listings we have right now. So what she's doing is she's currently creating a job description for her next hire. And it's because we've given them the opportunity to actually build a career within our team. So we've actually changed our name, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard this. We actually call ourselves the success team because we're successful in what we do, which makes it easier for our agents to be successful. So another thing we do for anyone who's looking to make that second hire for their admin team, knowing what their goals are as well. So it goes back to knowing what the team's vision is, so they know what they're working for. Find out what their goals are too, so you can help them achieve them within their business or within their career. Weekly one-on-one, staying connected with them, because sometimes you can get really busy and communication can fall, so it's really important you stay connected. We have an admin meeting every Monday. We haven't done it obviously together since COVID, but it was great. It was probably my favorite time because we would spend 30 minutes going over the entire week on a Monday morning to set our team up for success. Communication every single day. So we do 5-minute huddles in the morning, and sometimes it's as simple as, what did you do last night? Getting that out of our system so the rest of the day we can just focus on our job. They have lunch together, they exercise, they work out together on their lunch breaks. They've bonded enough. So again, I'm just extremely lucky, and it all boils down to onboarding the right people, communication, setting up that commitment, and knowing what our team wants. There's a lot more to it, Melissa, but that's honestly the key, is just knowing the vision, knowing what we want from them, having a good job description in place, and then weekly touch points, just to sum it up.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. Are you hiring your next admin?
We actually, kind of on the other side for our the real estate investing, we actually hired a marketing coordinator and a project coordinator.
Okay. So just know what the expectations are for that and follow up with them every single day. While you're in a 30, 60, 90, every 30 days, touch point with them and go over their 30 days while they're building. And that way you'll be able to identify any gaps and have good conversations with them.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then someone asked, do you tie accountability to pay structure? No. I mean, I think it's hard to do that at the very beginning. I mean, if you have top talent after 90 days, then you could tie that talent into a payroll structure. But the reality of it is, when you're hiring someone, you don't really know. You can do interviews all you like. People can be who they are in front of you, but we go pretty deep. Like, we'll creep you on Facebook, look at your culture. We'll figure out what kind of person you are, agent, admin, whatever it is, we go deep. And then we decide before we interview if we want to interview you. So we don't tie accountability to pay at the very beginning. But I'm going to be honest, if you have top talent and they're pushing you every single day, don't lose them. Maybe give them incentives. Any other questions? We have 10 minutes. I'm trying to look and see if any of our girls are on here. Kim, you and I have had accountability conversations as well. Did all your questions get answered today, or is there anything missing that could help you?
The only thing we have are some stubborn agents who just kind of don't want to be held accountable, and no matter how much we push them, it's still always an issue.
Why don't they want to be held accountable?
They just don't like the work. Like, they want to be successful. They're stuck in their ways of doing their own type of thing and don't think that they need to do it in any other way.
Okay, so why is it important for us to figure out another way for them to do their business? What if you found out how they do their business and got to know that a little bit more, and then held them accountable in their own methods, in their own way? We don't want to, one thing we don't want to do is, I mean, change can be looked at good and bad, but it's important that if someone is set in their ways, now we need to come over here to their world and figure out what accountability looks like in that terms. Because you have such a good team, and I know you have stubborn people on your team in a good way.
Yeah, no, they're definitely successful. Like, there's
oh, absolutely.
There's a number of, some of them, you know, we just support them in any other way that they need to do what they like to do. Sometimes it's just as simple as trying to get people to follow up on their CMAs.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, that's an issue I think a lot of admins have, is getting them to follow up with those. And we use COVID as a really good tool, because when they were staying at home going, well, we can't lead gen for the first 2 weeks because we want to be really respectful of our database and everybody like that. So we had them following up with their home evaluations and touching point with people from a year ago because they weren't doing it. And we got to the root of it. And that's why I was saying, maybe if you go over to their side for a minute and try to wrap your head around like how they do things, because we come to determine they didn't see a value in a home evaluation. They didn't think that a home evaluation was something that would grow their business or grow their pipeline. And we had to come over to their vision and kind of like ask a few more questions and figure out why will you not call these people back? And they're like, well, it was a year ago. They didn't want to sell them. They mentioned 2 years out. And it was like their head was so stuck in that vision. Like sometimes we just got to go over there with them and kind of figure it out a little bit.
I know Donna just jumped off, but I mean, she literally will take the files and go through them, make sure they have it listed, go through all the notes, leave them notes, put it on their desk, have them all set up for success, and they just do not do the calls. So we're always pushing them, and Donna is definitely amazing at following up with them.
Yeah.
But I don't know how else to push them if they're just not willing to do it.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an extreme one here. And again, guys, this might not work for everybody. I'm not recommending it. I want you to go through the CMAs from the last year. And I want you to put together the commission. How much lost commission is in that? Okay? So one, you can have that conversation saying, guys, there's $65,000 in lost commission right here in these CMAs. One step farther, I want a raise. I deserve a raise, and I'm always pushing you guys to be better. I can't get a raise when we're ignoring this business over here.
That's good. Sorry, I'm just writing it down.
Yeah. So that's, over the years, my head just goes to the extreme, and I always use myself last because I obviously don't care about that. I care more about like the lost commissions. And then because I know how close your team is too, I would even say, guys, that's 65,000. That could have been 3 team advances we could have went on. 3 events we could have held for our clients. Like you have to show them the missing mark, because if we don't show them, if we don't get to that point with them, they will never understand. And it's not because they can't understand, it's because they're already thinking about the next thing. They've moved on from that thought.
Okay.
So I hope that helps you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna bring that up to Donna and see.
Yeah, tell Donna to do it.
Oh yeah, she's definitely way better at that. She's fearless.
Good, I love it. I can see her being fearless. I don't want to have a conversation with her.
No, but she has such a good way of saying it too, so I love it.
And that's important too when you're delivering the message, guys. It's not like going in there hard, because nobody wins and nothing gets done. It's having a good conversation and knowing how to communicate with one another. Again, accountability, communication, they go hand in hand. So I'm hoping that today was a good call for everybody and you were able to take a couple good things away from it. And if no one has any questions, I mean, there's still 10 minutes left. If there's any questions, let's hear them. If not, I definitely hope this was worth everyone's time today for sure. That's important to me, is that everyone's able to get something away from these calls. That would mean a lot. You're welcome, Kim.
I think that you mentioned something about you had a separate spreadsheet that you also put your accountability in.
Yeah, so outside of our success planners, we use the CTE tracker. If you guys want, I can show you what it looks like. It might take a few minutes for it to load, but if you guys don't mind, I can give you a quick shot of that. It'll just be a little bit of time, guys. I apologize just because of the internet. So we have our VP of sales is in charge of this now, and our transaction coordinator, because CTE is multifunctioning. So again, it's iwantexcellence.com for anybody who's interested in learning a little bit more about this. And it just takes a little bit of time for it to load. It used to be not pretty looking at all. They recently did an upgrade, so it looks nice. So it can be, now this isn't accurate because we don't track closed in here yet, or sorry, we don't track pending. So it'll tell you, it, 'cause we don't track closed in here yet, or sorry, we don't track pending. So it'll tell you for those of you outside of lead gen and holding them accountable to that, another good tool for this is it holds you accountable. It lets you know your GCI, so you can keep track of your GCI, active listings, active buyers, pending, closed transactions, year to date, all that stuff. We don't utilize this at a high level. Our transaction coordinator is going to be incorporating this, and she does the majority of the work here. Now, this sheet here, once it loads, is our lead generation tool. So when you log into CTE and you subscribe, they give you a desktop or an app to put on your phone, and you can track, the agents can track daily or weekly, like I mentioned before. So this is just our active listings. Here you can add your stuff. I just showed you guys that. This is our business plan. So here's where you get started. This is where we know what their goals are. Every agent on our team, we have their goals in here. It breaks down the percent of income they're getting from each person, percentage of income for commission, the volume, cost of sales, guys, which is incredible for anyone who does accounting for their team. And it goes all the way over to break it down as an individual amount, right, to dollars and cents. It's just not going to go over there for some reason today. And it'll tell them, oh, sorry, I passed it already. It'll tell them what their commission breakdown will be after splits to the brokerages. It's just amazing. It's just a really good tool. So this is the daily lead gen sheet that I was telling you guys about. So when they go to their lead gen on their app on their phone and they input it, it immediately populates to my desktop. So I can go through here right now and I can see, what month are we? Holy geez, we're May. So I can already look. I have one agent, Aaron, who is not inputting his numbers and hasn't in April. So I get that. First of all, I'm a little bit furious right now and I feel like I got to talk to that guy. But what I'll do is I'll talk to our VP of sales for their buyer side. I'll let them know that there's the gap right there. Aaron hasn't been tracking his numbers. And to be honest, we already had this conversation with him on Monday, but I just thought it would trigger him to go in and put his numbers in. Clearly didn't. So here's accountability right here. So as soon as I get off this call, I'm going to be talking to our sales agent and letting him know that this guy's not tracking his numbers and then what that looks like for him. So no commissions coming in 3 months' time. He's not doing any deals. So you can go by date, hours of lead gen, and you can pre-populate this to be whatever you want it to be, guys. Dials, contacts, nurtures, listing appointments. You can even go crazy and do that. We even put in open house here too. So any leads you get from open houses go in your tracker as well. So it's just a great tool for us to really fill in the gaps with our team. It is a cost. So for us, I believe it can cost, I want to say $57 a month Canadian. Yeah, so just a nice tool to look at if anyone's interested. And you can use it as a solo agent, or you can use it at a larger scale as well. So yeah.
Thanks for showing us that.
What's that, Melissa?
Thanks for showing us that.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope it's helpful. I mean, I went through it pretty quickly, but it's more important that they get the app version for their phone and use it. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for today. If anyone has any other questions, shoot. If not, make sure that everyone is registered for this call so you can get the slideshow afterwards if you're interested. And if you have any questions, guys, just reach out. And thanks again for the call. Thanks for joining every week, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Val. Great meeting.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.